What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Bicycle channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Not a single word about this game. I've covered the game since we first saw it in 2020 at the DC Fandom event, but I've mostly covered it in a vacuum for the most part, in a bubble of some sort, where I talk with people who are interested in the DC video games in my comment section and even within our communities where we've done collaborations, but I've not necessarily listened to a lot of other opinions because they are kind of sparse around the game. In fact, we didn't hear much about the game after the DC Fandom event for years, and then we started hearing more about it when they did the PlayStation Showcase. So I found a video here that I wanted to go ahead and analyze in a sense. It's not, let's not call it a reaction video, please, no. I found this YouTuber, Play Great Games, and they made the video, and I will leave a link in the description so that you can go watch the video and, see what their work is about. So I've never watched it before, but it would be nice to hear somebody else's opinion and kind of comment on it at the same time. So let us go ahead and let us dive in. This is going to be really interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't really know what they're going to say, but hey, it would be nice to hear somebody else talk about it.
You know, just the other day, I remembered Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, and I wondered, where the heck is this game? In my 2022 Games I'm Excited For video, I talked mainly about Elden Ring, but also Suicide Squad. That video was made over 2 years ago, and where is this game? So I did a wee bit of research, and I realized that this game is basically a walking corpse, even though it's not even out yet. So what the heck happened? What went wrong?
Man, that is a tough pill to swallow, but it is a reality that I understand very well. I think a lot of gamers have not really dialed into all what's going on in gaming right now. Games as a service is absolutely a lethal poison in the video game industry, seemingly. And the reason I say seemingly is because all the companies are double dipping. So they have one hand in their single player thing, and then now they're reaching into that games as a service because they've seen Fortnite money. They've seen all these other games that have made it. So even Sony as a publisher in general is wanting to move a higher percentage of its budget into investing in these games, these kinds of games. So this is a trend that's going to happen. But when I say seemingly, I mean it's a trend that you're going to see, but there will still be that hand in the single player jar. And if you like single player games, that's what you should kind of look at. So I understand what where this might be going. That's why I put that in there.
Don't forget to subscribe. Now, all the way back in 2010, the game was first announced, but it was only until August of 2020 when the game's title and teaser trailer were released. Set in a world where Brainiac has controlled the Justice League, it's up to the Suicide Squad to fix this mess. I mean, you couldn't have called in like Booster Gold or any of the other Green Lanterns, whatever. The gameplay was very interesting, as you can switch between 4 unique characters: Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, and King Shark. Now, this doesn't sound like a bad game. Scheduled to be released in 2022, everything seemed like it was going well. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the company behind this game is Rocksteady. Just so happens to be the same guys behind one of the most highest rated and respected video game franchises out there, just...
Hey, that's the PC version of Arkham Knight. That's a solid game, bro. It's probably one of the best games ever made. It is one of the best.
The Batman Arkham series, if that rings a bell. So not only did this game seem interesting, but it was backed by the same company that carried Batman to be a very prominent name in the gaming industry. This had to be awesome, but unfortunately, this just ain't that kind of story. And on February 23rd, 2023, we got the official behind-the-scenes trailer. It was released in this 8-minute and 23-second video that the newest addition to the Arkham universe was probably gonna suck a lot.
You okay? All right.
Now, at that point, there had already been a buttload of controversy over
He might say Gotham Knights.
the whole kill the Justice League thing, but it was in this
Okay, I thought it was going to say there was a lot of controversy about Gotham Knights.
trailer that we saw the real problem, or at least one of them. Microtransactions. In its essence, microtransactions are when you buy a silly little skin.
Big problem. But I don't think he mentions in my opinion anyways, I don't think he actually mentions what I thought was at the forefront of this. Now, the game was essentially a shooter. Microtransactions, we can fight about them all day. Everyone's got their own opinions, but The core design of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was that it was a shooter, a move away from what Rocksteady's legacy had turned into. Even though Rocksteady started out making Riot Response, which was a shooter, then moving to the Batman Arkham trilogy, and even giving their files to Warner Bros. Montreal to make Arkham Origins. So it's basically a game facilitated by them, developed by Warner Bros. Montreal, and then go into a shooter in this day and age. So that Fortnite money was calling. And we'll see in a few minutes what.
In Fortnite off the store or whatever. Now, they work perfectly fine for a game like Fortnite, but in an Arkham game? No way. There are dozens of reasons for why a microtransaction system in a game like this would be a no bueno. Like just how it decreases the quality of the game, or how the company usually gets caught up in them and loses focus on the main game, or...
Yeah, but it is a shooter. They made a shooter, so if they had called it something else, nobody would have had a problem with it. I'm not saying it's a great idea. I'm just saying that they had said it's an Arkham game because I think they wanted to pull the existing audience. Big mistake.
However, the fact that in all cases under the sun, the addition of microtransactions are a petty excuse for a cash grab, which tells you a little bit of something about the people behind this game. Now, if you felt that this system didn't fit here, not only would you be spot on, but I do feel the need to mention yet another reason this game is dead in the water. This is an online video game, so not only do you need a stable internet to play, lose the ability to play offline, and make the whole cosmetics and skin thing make a little more sense, but it takes a lot away from the single-player feel to the game.
I don't think this game was intended really to be a single-player game. It has a single controller element, but multi-groups. And I think this is where Rocksteady's design of the game lost a lot of its fans. And I know I may sound like I'm defending the game, but I'm actually stating the game's proposition in a sense. So think of me as a third party that comes in to say this is exactly what this is, but it seems like for the most part the community is a little bit confused, and it's their fault. Rocksteady basically has made this game, and their bosses have said to make it, and it's confused their audience because, again, their legacy was built on single-player superhero paradigm, action-adventure game. But then to come out now with the shooter has now confused everyone. So a lot of people can't help but keep saying, well, where is that legacy you built in the Arkhamverse? Because they called the game a game in the Arkhamverse. So it's an Arkham game, but it's an offshoot of the Arkham universe, and it's just really confusing for a lot of people. You have to make the distinction and a dichotomy so that you can judge both games based on whatever merits they have, and I think it'll really help. But it is what
Arkham series had a feel to it. Like, imagine this. Not only am I stacked up against all odds, not only am I alone, not only is this whole...
I get it. It's gonna roast. I get
You
it.
see, it takes so much away from the feel of the game when you get a whole bunch of guys playing online with you. Does it get off a bad feeling? Not necessarily, but it definitely gives off a feeling unlike any of the other Arkham games. And now, when it seems like we've gone over everything in the book, I bring you the reschedules. Marvel's Avengers, rescheduled. Not only did this game hurt the company behind it, Square Enix, but it bombed really hard. I wonder why. Anthem, one of EA's most anticipated games, rescheduled. Bomb.
Okay.
Is known for the immersive, dark, gritty, and grounded single-player games. Suicide Squad betrays all of this. Everything that this game was built on, the microtransactions, the online gameplay, might have worked out to a degree for a different company with a different roster of video games behind them. This just ain't Rocksteady's video game.
Now he's mentioning it. Agreed. 100%. I guess I should have waited because everything I said, just bring it here in a sense. This isn't really the legacy Rocksteady's built in a sense. I think it's very corpo.
Oh, these are so good. Oh no. Mario? Now almonds? Oh no.
Yeah,
How and why video gaming is dying. Why all these AAA games out there are getting less and less exciting, player counts have been dropping, and the gaming in general has been darkening and becoming less interesting. Suicide Squad KTJL is a perfect example that follows everything I said in that video. All the aspects of this game that we just discussed all perfectly fit into a modern free-to-play online multiplayer game. Suicide Squad isn't that, and that's why this game falls into this category. All of those loot boxes and skins and cosmetics need to be bought with real money. Sure, you might get a loot box whenever you level up and have a small chance of getting a bit of currency you need to buy your favorite legendary Captain Boomerang skin. I can't believe I'm talking about an Arkham game. What? But is this a free-to-play game? Is this a game where a company needs to get their money back through microtransactions because their game is free? Nope, not at all. This trash fire is $80 on PS5, £69.99 pounds. Well, I don't even know how much that is, and who actually uses pounds these days? Come on. $109.99 on Steam. I mean, at least they took those 4 pennies off, so it wouldn't be, you know, like $109.99, because that's too cliche.
He's got a point. It's a very expensive proposition.
Am I right? I'm running out of options here, guys. They punish us for not buying up on the unnecessarily added cosmetics that ripped the life and quality out of the game. Simply put, Rocksteady's history with the Arkham games have set a standard for not only the company, but future games in this same world. So would it surprise you if fans didn't like it when that same company that set the standard that worked so well not only broke it, but, in my mind, burned down their own reputation and respect by going down the modern, greedy, uncaring, and lazy route with what could have been an exciting addition to the Arkham universe? I mean, heck, it even made it into my 2022 Games I'm Excited For video, but after further research, I dropped my interest so fast. What could have been a new and exciting, fresh, even approach to the Arkham world turned out to be just another hollow, lifeless, and greedy cash grab by a company that just wants your money. I hate to ruin the moment, but who else feels that Harley Quinn has become one of the most annoying characters of all time? Like,
Okay, I get where he's coming from. And I understand, because for a lot of fans, seeing the Arkham games, it's hard to wrap your mind around a studio that just goes the whole different other direction. And I think that's what a lot of dedicated Arkham players are trying to come to terms with. That's just not working out in a sense. So the game is already one of those games that's just marketed to an audience that's probably not there. And, you know, this is a game that I'm going to play this game, by the way. I really want to see what the heck it is they had Rocksteady made. But here's the difference in my perspective of all of this. Rocksteady is not an independent studio. That's where this whole thing comes from. They have a publisher who mandates the games that they make. Warner Brothers Montreal with their, with the Gotham Knights game. That is a game that was mandated for them to make. And when publishers mandate these games, you have to go back and look at the ideas behind, and the whomever may be calling the shots. There's an old article, I think it was Axios or somewhere, or Axios cited the article. And there is somebody who's in charge of the 11 development studios under Warner Brothers. This individual is cited as eyeing the games as a service paradigm all the way back in like 2016. Remember, this game, Arkham Knight, came out in 2015. So 2016, this person took over the game studios. They had just come in from the marketing arm. And at that time, what games were the most popular games around that season? PUBG, Fortnite was also coming on the horizon, if it wasn't already on the horizon around that time. No. Fortnite was already a thing. I take that back. So these games are already raking and farming money. And I'm sure executives all over the world in the gaming scene were looking around going, we got to get a piece of this somehow. When you look at 2017, you think about the canceled Superman game, and then you come down to 2023, and what's ready is Suicide Squad. It doesn't take a genius to put 2 and 2 together to see that this person who is publicly cited as saying, we want to move, to the games as a service model in tandem with other companies like Ubisoft, which was also cited in that whole, report as well. It doesn't take 1 or 2 and 2. I know the person, by the way, everybody, it's public information, but I don't want to say the name of the exec. You can go look it up yourself. I mean, if you want a link, I can put a link in the description for you as well. No problem. So that is a very critical point that has to be said. But again, remember the hand that's in the single player jar? The Wonder Woman game is supposedly going to be a single player game. That's also being worked on as well. So it's a bet that every company wants to take, but not one that any company, for the most part, that has a plethora of games will commit to. The problem here is that they're dragging their legacy games and trying to appeal to those audiences and confusing those audiences and then making it seem really weird. They could have taken another select group of, DC heroes, created a whole new universe, and made this offshoot called, whatever they're calling Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League now. I think they thought they were doing it where it could be separate enough, like, using the Suicide Squad members to make a shooter, but then they could have done that separately. They could have removed the Justice League from the whole equation in the Arkham world. Or they could have done it and removed it from the Arkham world. And call it a whole separate different video game. And I think that would have marketed really well for them. But now, many people are saying, is this a game in the Arkham universe? The conflation is already there. And it seems like the overall premise is kind of like just wild. This is why Stephen, in my opinion this is why I think Stephen Hill and Jamie Walker were leaving the studio, because they don't necessarily see this as 100% their legacy. I don't think this is a game that they would have made, if they were calling the shots under the right circumstances. So it's a very, very interesting set of circumstances. I remember somebody saying something like they thought they were making a smart comment. They said, "I'm so glad that those developers at Warner Brothers Montreal left after Gotham Knights. Yes, I'm glad the game failed." I want to ask that same person, are you glad that Stephen Hill and Jamie Walker are leaving Rocksteady? Because it seems like you're full of it if you're not going to be consistent. And so what's going on? It appears that there is a trend. But the way gamers have actually made their positions known on their superhero video games is very interesting. Now we're yet to see how the execs respond and probably figure out how they're going to move the chess pieces. They probably need to focus their live service elements on some other franchises that already naturally do that. Like, say, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat already is a live service game that will get the job done when it comes to sales and monetization. Then they probably need to build other ecosystems around the DC games as well that could do it and let the legacy games thrive. Like when they make their Wonder Woman game and deploy it, they dare not go try anything weird with that franchise, but rather continue to build and grow it from there with Monolith. That will be a good way to go. So I think this was probably one of those things that just the timing for the game did not necessarily work out very well, because the response to these the manifestation of these live service games you're seeing now is a result of multiple years of development that was probably hashed out just a year or 2 years after PUBG and Fortnite and Apex Legends and stuff all started to get very, very profitable and popular. So now is when the games are ready, or around now is when the games are starting to find themselves coming out there. Some of them did. They came out as well. They were trying to compete, but then there was always pushback, and the companies kind of dialed back, like EA. They dialed back and went the single player route, and real quick, they made an about face. So hopefully Warner Brothers can make an about face with its established franchises and then do its monetization and stuff with the other franchises that allow for it. So that was a very good video. It was a very interesting, thought-provoking, in my opinion anyways, because now I can see how, this YouTuber is able to kind of like communicate what they're envisioning from their perspective. And it helps me to understand, this is why there's a lot of confusion. Because I was making a lot of videos talking about why this dichotomy existed. And some people were like, you're defending the game. And no, I'm not. I don't care if you play the game or not. That's your business. I'm just saying that this is where I'm seeing, the pieces move from. There is somebody who greenlights games. There's somebody who mandates games, or at least says, okay, let's make a game like this, because their job is to see profitability in the gaming section. So I think those people, that person or the people who make those decisions, have probably made a slight tactical misjudgment of the market forces right now, especially post Elden Ring. Nothing subpar from AAA studios will ever be accepted or ever be seen with any serious light again. And that's just my take on this. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.